It is not clickbait! RTX 4090 is here and is up to 4 times faster than the 3090. What? That's right, NVIDIA has just announced 2 new graphics cards, the RTX 4090 and the RTX 4080. Let's start with the specs. The RTX 4090 comes with 24GB of GDDR6X memory, 16,384 CUDA cores, and a TDP of 450 watts. Perhaps a little bit confusingly, the RTX 4080 actually comes in 2 different flavours. You've got the 16GB variant that has 16GB of GDDR6X memory, 9,728 CUDA cores, and then a TDP of 320 watts. Where it starts to get a little bit confusing is when you look at that 12GB variant, as not only do you have 4GB less memory, as you'd probably expect, but you've actually only got 7,680 CUDA cores and then a slightly lower TDP of 285 watts, with these 2 things combined probably meaning a slightly lower overall amount of performance. All of these graphics cards are based upon some brand new architecture, and it's called Ada Lovelace, and this uses TSMC's 4C process, which is new. This smaller process makes the GPU even denser than it was before, allowing for increases in transistors for more performance in rasterization, ray tracing, and AI. Obviously, we knew a lot of this was coming, but honestly, I was not expecting this level of performance. I knew there was going to be a little bit of stuff that NVIDIA had held back, and I definitely was not disappointed. Because here's the thing, NVIDIA are citing anywhere between 2 to 4 times the performance over the previous generation, and there's more to these cards than just brute force computation. We're looking at around about double the performance in traditional games, though I'd take this with a slight pinch of salt until we've actually tested them in this very studio. But then the party really gets started when you run ray tracing applications, or any of those that use NVIDIA's brand new DLSS 3.0. And DLSS 3 is going to be a literal game changer, as NVIDIA has taken the already brilliant DLSS 2 and somehow turned it into an entirely new beast. The headline news is that it now works on CPU limited games. So even if you're running something like Microsoft Flight Simulator, which is really CPU heavy, you can still get even higher frame rates without the usual brick wall effect. It works with what NVIDIA are calling the optical flow accelerator, which sort of creates a map of where the pixels are and where they're going. This is then used to create entirely new frames, all without taxing the GPU or the CPU pipeline. It's almost like generating free game frames, all from the AI section of the GPU. Now, me and you are probably quite alike in having a lot of questions, like how exactly does it work? Is it going to affect the image quality? What happens if you're playing like a FPS game and something big changes? The AI isn't going to know how that happens. So is everything going to be smooth? Are there going to be artifacts? What's going to happen? Watch this space, but it sounds very cool. Then of course there's the new ray tracing features, and dang, does the demo look good. Compared to the first generation RTX Turing, these new cards have up to 16 times more ray tracing performance, and I'd say that this finally means that RTX On might be worth enabling all of the time. It also looks as if real-time path tracing is actually an option this time, rather than just tech demos in old school games and a little bit of Minecraft, and a lot of this extra performance is achieved with a new GPU feature. They're calling it SER, Shader Execution Recording. No, my script is wrong. I've written down the wrong word. Shader Execution Reordering Recording. Marcus, come on. In a nutshell, SER allows the GPU to process information more effectively when it comes to ray tracing. An example, Battlefield 5 had 39 ray tracing operations per pixel, whereas in the brand new build of Cyberpunk that has an RTX max setting, it can actually run with 635 of these ray tracing operations per pixel. That is insane, and it does it at over 100 frames a second at 4K DLSS. That's up to 4 times faster than the previous generation, and I'm almost wanting to say I'll believe it when I see it, but I know they wouldn't show something that does not work. I'm just thinking, what DLSS setting were they using? Was it actually 4K, or did it just sort of technically be 4K? I don't know, but I'm honestly so excited to see this demo. My eyes were blown out of their sockets. But they've now returned, safe and sound, so it don't look weird for you. Or I'd be wearing sunglasses. If you're a fan of ray tracing, then NVIDIA is also launching Portal RTX, a free mod for the original game that looks absolutely insane, and honestly, I can't wait to play this. This was an example of the NVIDIA Omniverse modding system that lets users add RTX features to games without having masses of knowledge. It almost imports them and upscales the assets and adds RTX. This probably won't be an everybody feature, but for those that love to tweak and have a little bit of experience, I think they're going to adore this feature, and for everyone else, well, you'll be able to use the mod kits. But here's the bit you've been waiting for. Price and availability. The RTX 4090 is launching in just 3 weeks, October the 12th, with a starting price of $1,599 or 1,679 UK pounds. Remember that this is a starting price. AIBs are going to charge slightly more, especially if you're going to go for something like the top-end Asus Strix version. There's usually quite a big tax if you like to have those big bulky coolers. So yeah, not cheap. As for the RTX 4080, the 12GB version is going to be $899, £949, and then for the faster 16GB version, you're looking at $1,199 or 1,269 GBP. There's no word on an RTX 4070 or a 4090 Super or Ti just yet, but you can bet your cotton socks that they will be arriving at some point, probably not that far away. As for my impressions, well, performance, absolutely yes. Pricing is definitely a bit meh. I think that this was probably what most people expected. NVIDIA weren't going to jack the prices up crazy like they were rumoured to, but the days of like RTX or GTX 980s where they're in about £500–600 are sadly not happening anymore. Obviously there's a lot of inflation and things going on, so the fact that the 3090 is still more expensive than the 4090, that shows that they have lowered the price a little bit, but I'm not really sure that it's enough to get everyone buying them. I mean, if anything, people are likely to spend less money at the moment, so to be spending almost £1,000 on what is a third-tier graphics card does seem like a heck of a lot of money. So we're going to have to wait and see what AMD does, and maybe even Intel, and hopefully get some competition that brings those prices down. If you do need the performance though, then I think they're going to be brilliant, and I can't wait to test them. But as I say, in pretty much every video at the moment, it's all about knowing what you actually need from your gaming performance. Don't go spending £1,000 on a GPU just because it sounds cool. What frame rate do you actually need? What games are you going to play? And ultimately, what GPU do you need to play those games on? Maybe it's one of these new cards, maybe it is not. Let me know your thoughts on this generation. Are you going to be picking up one of these cards? What do you make of the performance? The price? Absolutely smash the like button if you've enjoyed this video. It honestly helps out so much. Get subscribed so you don't miss my full review and builds for these cards as soon as they land, as well as things like the upcoming AM5 builds and things, and maybe like with an NVIDIA GPU. It's going to be crazy. Get subscribed and I'll catch you in the next video. Thank you for watching.